most people that I know in this sport have a connection to it, right? Have a relationship to it, whether it's kin, like me. I came up through my grandfather, my dad, everybody, right, was involved in racing. You came from Nashville, you came from Tennessee, driving a Legends car. You've been on this road to get to this very top level. Now you're married, you have a family. That's a support system. That's someone to bounce things off of. But they're just as green at this as you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
In navigating this big, crazy world of NASCAR in this industry. Help people understand, I guess, what that's been like for you. That you don't have a group of handlers, people ushering you around to make sure you're on time for this and on time for that. I've seen your schedule today.
Yeah.
You know who's responsible to get you to all those things? You.
Me.
And I know that will change, and it may change today. There may be people around today that are actually going to be making sure that from Stewart-Haas Racing, make sure everything's right. But up until this point, man, I mean, we have really asked you to manage all of this, and there's still things today that I don't think people realize that you do. Like you're gonna go help us run a car store race at Caraway in a couple weeks on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
For a car that we're going to enter in that race.
Yeah.
I call him up. I'm like, hey, man, I kind of want to do this, man. Can you help me get it done? And he's like, yeah, I can do that, I guess. And, I mean, on top of all of the other things that's going on in this guy's world. And he's got, like I said, a family and all of those responsibilities to be present. And so I just can't believe how much you've been we've really stacked a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's, one thing is I think I don't really know any different, I guess, right? Like it's just kind of how it is, I guess. I don't know how to word that. For sure it's been a challenge. Like we touched on the Cup and the Xfinity deal. That was top of it, right? Trying to manage through all that. And obviously, my wife, my family, that she can help, but it's it's really just a lot kind of managing. And a lot of times you have to kind of prioritize what's important to you in this. What you're going to do, how you rank your meetings and your your sim time or all the different things that come along with Cup racing and Xfinity racing. And I think that that's one thing that I learned throughout the process of this year was that I am ready to race a Cup car, and I am capable of handling the grind that it's going to be. And mentally how you have to stay focused and in the game for that long of a season, right? You know how it is. And I think to touch on, the support system around me, I don't think I feel that way, right? Like I think, I know that even now going through, if you think when it comes to the driver side of things and Cup racing, I have 3 Hall of Famers that I'm going to be able to lean on, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to have Kevin Harvick, and I'm going to have Tony Stewart, right, that I can lean on whenever I have questions about, anything, my day-to-day life, my routine, what I need to do, what I need to prioritize. And then, and Kelly and LW have been so good to me, even still just on life thing, business, just different things. I've reached out to Kelly throughout this process several times and asked her questions about this and what she thought and utilized her to help. So I don't feel like I don't have, I don't feel like I'm doing it all myself.
Yeah.
I think so. That's an important part of it. I think, if the least I can do is be on time to all this stuff, right? So I feel like I can manage that, with everything that's happening.
I wonder how much you've been double booked this year.
I don't know. I can't think of nothing that really stands out. I mean,
like 2 meetings happening at once. You're like, which one do I go to?
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask something real quick. Speaking of all that you have on your schedule today, it started with getting in front of the JR Motorsports company and telling this news. Good news for sure, but still standing in front of the company. Is that easy or hard?
It's not easy. I feel like out of all my day and everything that we've done and the things that I've thought about, I feel like those 2 were the ones that stuck out to me the most. That of maybe, I don't know want to say a level of difficulty, but just the thought that went into that, right? I think and each for different reasons, right? One, I knew that standing in front of the company today and doing this after all this time, and you get up there and that you try to prepare for it, but you start thinking about all the races and all the times that, and I knew that would be an emotional experience for me, addressing them like that, even though it's like I said, it's not goodbye. We still have a lot of racing to do, or, I'm going to be around here for months and months as we finish out the season. So, I knew that was going to be an emotional one, for maybe a little bit for all of us. And then, the next is so I leave here, I go to Stewart-Haas, and I'm going to have to address, them for the first time. And it's, really important to me, the first impression that I leave on those guys, right? I don't want to show up and look, you can't look intimidated, or I don't want, I don't want to be too emotional, right? Like I don't want. So I'm thinking about that and what I'm going to say, and the message that I'm going to convey to them has been important, and that's something that I've been thinking a lot the last couple of days. I feel like sitting here and talking to you guys is just fun, right? It's easy and fun. Yeah, it's natural. But thinking about that stuff is just important to me, because you just want to you only get a first crack at this once, and you just want to make sure you deliver the right message.
Yeah, it was not just emotional for you this morning. It was emotional there was a lot of grown men in there trying to fight back emotions, to be honest with you.
I think to touch on that, just kind of close the book on that in a minute. Junior Motorsports exists, to win races, championships, but mainly we are a bit of a vessel, right, to get to this top level, right? And we do it with drivers. My sister told me you'll be the 10th driver to come through our system to make the cup level. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is something.
Crew chiefs, countless crew chiefs, engineers, mechanics, over-the-wall guys, people even up in the office. We get people hired out of our office to bigger, Penske and all these other big teams. And as much as it is sad and tough to lose great people, it's really what we do. It's really why we exist. That's how we are an asset to the industry, is we are a place for these folks to get that experience they need to get to that next level. And teams look at us and go, man, they got great employees. Maybe they got somebody that can fill this role for us. We know we're going to get a quality employee when we look at Junior Motorsports. And so I tell people all the time that when someone is hired out of this building to the cup level, it's as good, if not better, for me than winning a race. It's a win. It's a success. And I know a lot of people out there. I see it in my timeline. Well, he's going to Ford. You're losing him out of the sort of the Hendrick pipeline, if you will. But that's the beauty of Junior Motorsports, is that people can come here and have that opportunity to be looked at and be chosen by anybody in the industry, And as much as we would have loved to, work with Josh, this is such an incredible opportunity. I'd love for you to stay here and race Xfinity cars, but that isn't what is in your future, right? That isn't what you need to be doing.
Nor is it the identity of Junior Motorsports,
no.
to your point.
Yeah.
That's not what we do.
Yeah.
It's keep people back from reaching their potential.
And so, I mean, I couldn't, I can't stress more how much of a win this is for me personally. I couldn't think of a better position and place for you to go to. I talked about how much I believe in Rodney and how great of a fit I think that's going to be for you. I honestly, if given the opportunity to pick anybody as your crew chief in the cup level, I wouldn't pick anyone different.
Yep.
The other thing is I wanted to ask you about Harvick. So I don't know how Harvick feels, but when I was leaving my car, I wanted to have an understanding of who the driver was that was going into the car, right? And I developed a relationship with Bowman and felt really great about that transition and what the job he would do. And I wonder if Harvick has had conversation with you about, giving you advice, or do y'all communicate as busy as he is and you are? Do y'all talk about this yet, or is that down the road? About because this is probably it's absolutely important to him that Rodney is in a good place. Rodney has the tools, the driver that he believes that can do the job, and that team continues to have success. He has relationships with all of the people in that car. So what's the communication been like?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I've communicated with him several times. I know that he was a advocate for sure of me in this, and I think that's the part that when we look at this opportunity and what I've learned throughout this process is that they were very intentional in the type of person, the type of racer, the guy that they wanted to fill this seat, because the number one goal was to try to keep that group together and motivated and kind of carry on the legacy that Kevin, Rodney, and all them guys have built. So, Kevin was definitely, I think, advocated for me and was there, and we've talked. I talked to him for a while at Sonoma about that racetrack. We're still working through that, right? Like, he's, I told, I know I communicated to him that I wanted to, at some point when we got some time, to sit down with him and just be like, hey, what was your, one of the biggest things was just be like, hey, what was your life day to day? How did it look? How did you prioritize your using the sim or your meetings and different things like that, aside from obviously the driving the race car stuff, right? Like, so yeah, he's going to be a great asset for me, I think, and it was really important to him to have say, and I think we'll find out more today with him. He's going to be involved in some of the stuff we're doing today, and we'll get to hear it from him firsthand what his opinion and thoughts are going forward to this. But he was he's been awesome. I remember. I remember calling Kevin years ago before I raced the Xfinity car at Richmond, and I think that was the first time that he was at JR Motorsports at the time, and I believe, or I'm pretty sure he was, and called him for like advice on Richmond and going there, and we had a really good race, and ever since then he's been a super strong advocate for me, and it's been awesome to hear.